Of course, you've got the power of Shelley Kitchen. Certainly, yesterday, just very powerful in her victory over Lauren Clark. And with Emma Thompson, she doesn't particularly like long rallies either. So we're expecting Louis a bit of a short and sharp match.
Yeah, I think Shelley's going to come up firing, you know, with a very high intensity. And she's really going to try and bring it to Emma with a quick pace. I think we might see Emma try and slow it down a little bit, maybe.
It should be unusual for her because that's not necessarily her game.
Yeah. Normally she does have a bit of power in her. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. She's probably going to try and absorb a bit of pressure and slow it down a bit. But I know she might not. She might back herself to out-hit Shelley, outpace Shelley, maybe.
Well, you know, it's not too bad for Shelley as, you know, she's still extremely fit as we can see. But I think with her, it's just, she's got that determination. She's really, you can see she's an ex-pro.
Yeah, you can see, even when she goes to the tee, she's kind of jumping around on the tee. She's got a lot of energy, very high energy player.
Well, what we saw yesterday in her victory is the power that she can generate, and that forehand is, you know, I guess aside from, say, Joelle King, Shelley's probably got the most power over any female player in New Zealand.
Yeah, we'll definitely agree with that. You can, just the way she winds up, and really uses her body momentum and quick rack ahead speed to
quite a big swing on the forehand as well, you know, compared to a lot of the pro players now. Yeah, her swing's quite big.
Yeah. And I think, that's kind of what's transitioned into squash nowadays, is the kind of shorter swing compared to the older days. Yeah, it'll definitely help her get the power that she gets. The issue is, I don't think Emma's going to give her as much time as she would have had in her past matches this tournament. So yeah, she might struggle to be able to play with pace all the time and get that big backswing, because Emma's going to be trying to, you know, take time off of Shelley and hit the ball a bit earlier, hit the ball away from her. Shout out to Paul Arscott, watching from Brisbane. Absolute legend, and his son's in the final,
First
which
time
will be
as
next.
well for Joel in the PSA final, and
Yeah.
you know, it's a challenger as well. It's not a satellite, so that's even better.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've never been in a 5K final. My best is a semi, so Joel's done better than me. Joel has overtaken me as the
beating you on that
top SquashXL pro now, I think. He
Although
can take that.
You can sort of say, well, the national final, you know, the national final against this, you guys can debate that all you want.
Yeah, that is true. So it was the same draw, I guess, same people.
Effectively.
So, yeah, it was pretty similar.
Oh, that was an interesting, very creative shot there. Didn't quite come off in the end for Emma Millar. So let's see if Shelley can actually settle a little bit. And a bit of an unforced error, those last 2 points, helping Shelley come back in.
Shot.
Yeah, one thing we will probably see working on Emma Millar's favour is just the change of direction, that she knows she can run. However, the body may be feeling a little bit tired. It wasn't necessarily a long game yesterday for her, but she has other things in her life as well.
Yeah. When you can tell from the movement to the front, it's from Shelley, it's probably not as smooth as it used to be. So I think Emma's going to really try and expose those front areas. She has to be careful. Obviously, can't go short and open it up, because Shelley, as you said before, does have a lethal hard shot.
So I think she's just got to get herself into the rhythm of this particular match. She did it very quickly yesterday. And Emma's a different prospect. She's got a lot of experience of playing bigger matches as well. And
there's that pace from Shelley from the back, playing a low cross-court kill.
Well, she's staying in this particular first game. Let's have a look. I haven't actually had a call from the ref yet. It's been quite nice.
Yeah, it is. I think women's squash is, I would say, probably a lot easier to ref compared to men's squash. I feel like most women that play just respect each other a little bit more, and they don't get as feisty and as angry at the refs.
Well, the other thing is Emma hardly ever questions anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah.
just her.
Yeah.
So a couple of errors, 1 minute from each player into the tin. Now today's a lot more humid as well. Just walking around the venue here, Henderson Squash Club, you're feeling a lot more sticky. Yesterday was warm weather, but it wasn't as sticky on court. So we'll see whether that takes it out of the players. It's a key point, this one. And just a 2-point buffer at the moment. Emma Millar was up by a few more. Shelley Kitchen and our friend John Levy. Great to have you joining us from Houston, Texas again. John was a referee at the Tournament of Champions and a couple of other tournaments in the US, and refereed Shelley, I think it was 2008 there, John. So great to have him joining us. So we've got people from Brisbane, from Houston, probably a little bit chilly in Houston right now, and all around New Zealand as well. Thanks for joining. Really hammering down that backhand down the walls. That's probably the first point that we've seen a pattern in the point of staying with one wall.
Yep. Yeah, it was quite tight squash here on the backhand side. Yeah, it's good to see these guys just kind of trying to feel each other out, playing nice length, nice and straight. Emma obviously, the point before was looking to rally a bit on the backhand and then take Shelley short with the boast, unfortunately clipping the top of the tin. Same there with Shelley actually, so yeah, I think both of these guys just filling each other out in the first game. And then
what we did find, particularly yesterday, was a lot of the balls deep in the forehand corner for the right-handers were fading away a lot. A few players getting caught out.
Yeah.
So game ball again. So, right on that one, you could just see the expression, so the question, and then they're like, ooh.
Yeah.
I think it was probably fair though.
Was fair, she was clear, it was a loose shot. And yeah, some instances that could be a stroke. But from here it looked like she cleared enough, cleared in time. So.
10 each now. I think the other thing is, you're going to put a stroke when these two have hardly touched each other, whereas in a men's match might be a lot more physical.
Yeah.
And then you can perhaps you change your question.
So 10-all here in the tie break. Very nice first game to have. Great lead.
Yeah, that was good positioning by Emma, and then knowing to hit it deep into the corner there. Shelley was over to the backhand side a bit more.
Game.
Well, there we go, first game 12-10. Well, Luamba Chalisi, that first game 12-10. And it was Emma Millar taking, after a nice little comeback from Shelley Kitchen, to force it into the tiebreak.
Yeah, it was a very exciting game. That's the kind of stuff we like to see at these sort of tournaments. So yeah, hopefully this game's another blockbuster. Action-packed.
I think it's fun to watch. I mean, I think it's fun to watch because Emma's always entertaining, but also Shelley because people know Shelley and know that she was top 10 in the world, and she is a little bit older now. So it's just great to see someone who's still so competitive and wanting to get into the match and play. and certainly as their own club as well, where she's the club captain.
Yeah, I think it's quite good for Emma as well because
Different player?
Someone different, exactly. Like last couple of months, obviously with COVID and everything, not having any overseas players to come, it's kind of been a lot of the draws have been just playing the same people. So
well, even
I
for you
think
guys as well.
it's the same for us, yeah. So I think it's really good for her. She'll be definitely wanting to win this, but definitely enjoying playing someone different, you know.
I guess when you look at the Auckland Open, which is the biggest tournament of the series, I believe there's only one, maybe two different players who are going to come into the men's draw. For the women's, I think there's one or maybe two as well.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those problems. If there was trans-Tasman travel, I would expect that you'd have the Calvert brothers or a few of those guys coming across and playing, and that just adds a little bit of spice. Helps them as well. Helps
exactly. Yeah.
We're not quite at that stage yet. Perhaps
Not quite.
it may happen with Australia a little bit later on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go any further. I think there may be a little bit of trans-Tasman travel, perhaps, but that's certainly what we'll hope for.
I mean, yeah, that would be great for both parties.
Yeah, I think
guess,
it would.
because they've got a few young pros, like you said, the Calverts. You got Joseph White, Reece Darling, who recently won the Aussie Open.
Yeah.
So they'll probably be sick of playing each other as well. So
I think so.
it'd be cool if that could happen later in the year.
So a decent lead in the second game now for Shelley Kitchen. Oh, there we go. That one didn't work. She was a big lead and then just putting it. Isn't it the prime spot where you want the serve to go? Just sitting up there for your forehand to slap away.
There we go. The old corner. I've seen her practice those at Luxon Squash Club in her solo, so that was on purpose.
Now, Lugton Squash Club, that's next to the tennis courts there in Hamilton East?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a lot of sports facilities all around there with the university as well.
Yeah. Actually, in the kind of block that it's in, there's badminton, ice skating, indoor tennis, outdoor tennis.
And then you've got the training facilities where the Chiefs are quite not too far away.
Yeah, so they're down the road at Ruakura. Yeah. There's also a squash club there as well, but yeah, they're about 3-minute drive away from each other. So
well, it's quite good to have so many sports within a short distance where people can learn or watch if they need to.
Yeah.
So just in these last couple of points, that one in particular, Emma Millar just making Shelley move forward and backwards, just getting a little bit of a rhythm in that particular point. Oh,
Tight.
I mean, what can you do when the ball's so close to the wall there? You've almost got to flick it off the wall. You can't really.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like I'm kind of known for breaking my rackets on those ones, so I'm probably not the best person to ask that. So, but yeah, saw Emma serve it out there. I haven't actually seen her do that too often. So,
that's a
great job. Bit of a lead here.
So yeah, the 2-point buffer, and when you're at 9-7, you're expecting to win.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's 2 for them to catch up, 2 for you to win.
Yeah.
Doesn't always mean that way. Isn't that it? Oh, that was decisive.
Yeah, it's quite interesting after that first game, being quite long, being 12-10, Emma taking out as well. Would have probably expected Shelley to maybe slow down a bit, but she looks like she's still determined, still fired up, still hunting, trying to take the ball early, still using her power as well.
Nice.
So and she's taking out the game.
So 11-9 the second game. We're 1-1 now in this, the women's final. We're at the Henderson Rochelle Hobbs Open, PSA tournament, women's final, and don't forget the men's final coming up. And coming in now for this, the third game of the women's final. Shelley Kitchen taking the second. It's been a close one. Hasn't been any particular pattern as yet, Luamba Chalisi. We're probably not going to see that with these two players. We're going to see some big hitting. And, nice slice on that one.
Yeah, I think last game we saw Shelley in front quite a bit. I think maybe Emma was going short too early, but as you just saw there, Shelley's really taken the front this game. First game, there was a bit more drives going in.
Yeah, that was true.
they were both trying to kind of feel each other out. But I think from the last game, it's still continuing. Shelley's really trying to put it to Emma and really attack the front when she gets the opportunity.
I think Emma's also trying to take the ball away from that forehand drive of Shelley's because she knows if it goes there, it's going to come back really hard.
Yeah. That's much better pattern there from Emma. Got the nice setup on the volley and just placed it in.
One thing I haven't seen from Emma is her lob serve. It's very effective against younger opponents who just aren't quite strong enough or won't either go forward or back enough, whereas someone who's stronger physically, like Shelley, will either take it on the forehand or backhand easily. But I've seen her go just a lob serve, it's slower, it puts indecision into the juniors.
Yeah.
They can't really handle it so much, but she hasn't used it against Shelley at all.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, Shelley's is quite tall. And
Yeah.
maybe she is scared that if it is loose, she'll attack it. I mean, definitely when I was a junior, I used to struggle playing my granddad because all he would do was lob and drop. So, yeah, I think...
Because you probably didn't have the strength, or you probably think, do I go forward, do I wait,
Yeah.
what do I do? And that straight away
it's
gets to your
definitely
head.
a massive put-off. Obviously, Shelley probably would have experienced that a lot, so probably used to it. Probably can do a lot more with it.
That's
yeah.
for sure. So I'd like to see a bit more of that from Emma, just move it forward and back and just do a drop. If it doesn't work first up, then maybe a lob, just mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. Nice placement there. So Emma's got the lead here.
That's certainly, I'm loving how there's just very few questions of the refs. Yesterday we had a couple of matches where there was a huge amount of questions. It did slow things down, yeah, okay, question, but after a while it's like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Very nice shot, well taken. Yeah, I think it's quite tough to ref. Like the last 3 or 4 years, I think a lot of the reffing has changed. Where they've been bringing in a lot more no-lets for people who are playing the player and not the man. So they had a sit-down with the refs at one stage in the last couple of years, where the top refs in the world sat down with the top players and they kind of went through some scenarios together and
Make the court bigger.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's just I think still even to this day there's a bit of confusion with some of the rules, and it's not just the calls, it's the explanations as well. Some of the explanations have changed a little bit. So yeah, that's really probably the only reason why there's quite a lot of issue nowadays.
Because you don't want it to be a bunch of gladiators out there tackling each other or body checking each other. Just gonna go, nice play. You see the way she situated herself at the front of the court, had plenty of options, but then went for it was almost a bow taking the pace off it as well, or getting the angle.
Yep.
I'm not sure how I describe that shot, it was very good.
Very, very, very juicy match here.
Yeah, you should be able to enjoy this play. Just working out what your tactics would be against the opponent. Every now and then that error though.
Yeah, Emma seems to be making a few unforced errors at the moment, which I can't really say too much about because I made a few in my match.
Yeah, but
Against
against
Elijah,
Elijah, you lost to Elijah in 5 games. What was the difference in that game? I mean, you just said unforced errors,
yeah.
was that it?
Pretty much just unforced errors, yeah.
The thing is, there's a lot of you that are very close. There's not much difference.
Yeah.
You know, talk about rankings or you want. There we go. That is the 3rd game, so it's now 2 games to 1 to Shelley Kitchen here in the final. So now back in for the 4th game of this, the women's final. It's Shelley Kitchen against Emma Millar. Feel free to send through a message if you'd like on the Facebook live stream. Don't forget, over these next 5 to 6 weeks, we'll be having live on Facebook and also live the finals of the Auckland Open. That'll be on Sky Sport Next live on TV, so great news there. And Luamba will be at the same venue where you were a finalist at the National Champs last year. So you'll be pretty used to those courts. Again, it'll be warm as well.
Yeah.
The Nationals were November, which is unusual, and now we'll have the Auckland Open in very early March. So North Shore Club can get very warm.
It can get very hot. It's always in the summer, always very hot, very bouncy, very fast. Yeah.
Yeah, the squash season's almost all year round now, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
we're in February now.
I mean,
We finished in November. You had a couple of months to. I think you played a few things around the country actually for Christmas.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much all year round now, with like a month off at the end of the year, where we do probably a little bit of coaching anyway. So yeah, it's good though. It's better to be playing than not playing. Obviously, situation overseas right now, a lot of players aren't able to play any tournaments or.
So in many ways, we're fortunate to have this tournament or any of these tournaments to actually get on the court.
Yeah, we're extremely lucky. Extremely lucky. Nice.
During the break there, John Duggan asked us for predictions as to who would win. And neither of us were actually willing to go forward and say it would be who was going to be the winner or how many games. I think it's... I mean, you know, she's got the 2-1 lead at the moment, Shelley Kitchen. There's a bit of a long serve. But Emma Millar, you can't really counteract because she's a little bit unpredictable with what she'll do next. And you know, you've got to check on Shelley's tiredness, but it doesn't seem to be showing right now.
Yeah, I think it's always dangerous to count people out. I mean, as we saw in the last game, Emma made a few unforced errors, which arguably could have maybe cost her the game. So if she can just do what she did there, just kind of lift her targets a little bit, keep the ball above the 10, but still place the ball where Shelley isn't, play into space, keep her moving around forward and back, then we could definitely see this match going to 5.
Well, that was a very decisive backhand cross and remaining low in the corner as well. So we just see who changes the pace, which is probably smart from both players. Oh, nice post. I think the thing is from Shelley there, where should she have gone? It was going to be very difficult to get to that. Oh, there's the lob a little bit. So what we've seen in this particular game is a change of pace on the serves.
Yeah.
And not necessarily hitting quite as hard. Then we get that.
Shot. There's the signature Shelley shot there.
It's great to watch, isn't it? It really is great to watch. It's just so decisive.
I think that just comes with the experience as well. For a lot of people, that shot would have given them too much time, that high boast. But she, as you said, she was very decisive, knew what she was going to do, executed it well.
I mean, even if Emma had got that one back, she still would have been possibly out of position for the next shot, and that's what you've got to think of.
Yeah.
If it doesn't win you, it'll get you in a good position to win the next shot.
The next point, exactly, yeah.
And I think that's got to be put through to juniors as well. Sometimes, you know, you might not win it on that shot, but if it gets you in a better position for the next shot, it's going to count.
Yeah. Emma is moving Shelley around a lot here, but she's doing very well. Still staying in a lot of the rallies, getting a lot back.
Oh, that's good. Nice angles. Yeah, well played. The key on that particular forehand was that she didn't hit it at full pace. It was probably 3/4, so it didn't quite give Shelley the pace to try and chase it down. That was an opportunity to go to game ball. Just probably played a little bit too tight. Didn't need to go for quite as much.
Yeah, those ones are always difficult because she was reaching, she was under pressure, so it's one of the ones where, yeah, if it was up, it would have been a winner.
Plays those both very nicely, doesn't she?
Yep.
And I love it that with Emma you get a great shot and then you get...
Shank the next one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Huge contrast in shots, isn't it?
Really slowing it. Well, there we go. We are going 5. And it is now 2 games all between Emma Millar and Shelley Kitchen. And now returning for the 5th game. And this is the 5th and final game of the women's final. Emma Millar in the black. And she's the national champion up against Shelley Kitchen, a former national champ. A nice point there, opening point for Emma Millar. Being able to drive through the ball on that forehand. And the one by Chilisi, we had an interesting 4th game where Millar came back. The players were slowing it down a little bit there. As this first couple of points hasn't been the same.
Yeah, it looks like they've done the opposite the first couple of points here, decided to speed it up a little bit. I definitely think it's Emma's best bet to try and just take the pace off the ball a little bit, break down Shelley's momentum, and just kind of put the ball in the areas, very nice, put the ball in the areas where Shelley's not, and just get her moving. It's a lot easier said than done though, obviously, so yeah, be a bit of pressure on both players in this 5th. There we go, it's nice to see Emma absorbing a bit of pressure there, lifting it. Very tight squash on the backhand. Question is who's going to go for it. Oh, that's unlucky.
So you were talking about breaking rackets on the wall earlier on, and how many would you go through a season? Or is it just chips taken out more than anything else?
Yeah, I've been through this season. I think I've broken 2. No, I've broken 1 this season. And I think I broke 1 or 2 last season. I remember one of the years I broke about 5.
Okay.
2019, I think.
Nice break. And good work.
All in different places as well. So.
Okay. Well, it's good to be, variety.
Yeah.
You haven't quite done the Novak Djokovic smashing them on the floor, as he did this Australian Open, and just a little bit of anger, just bang, bang, bang. No, none of those yet?
Not since I was about 12.
Okay.
I think last time I did that was, I think it was like the Methven Open, playing my brother when I was about 12. Got absolutely tuned up by him. Broke the racket on the wall.
Oh dear.
Hit the wall a few times in anger.
Nice play from Emma Millar.
But yeah, try not to do that. I can't really afford to break any rackets these days, so now that I'm paying for it and not my parents, I'm actually a bit more responsible. Great rally, great rally. This is exactly what we want to see here. Very competitive match. Hopefully the same thing happens in the men's.
I mean, if you're a junior player, this is what, as a coach, you should be saying to your junior, watch this. Different styles, but also the way that last point was played, even this point.
It's quite impressive how Shelley's still going, really. Her obviously being a little bit older than Emma. Probably be more focused on her job as a high performance manager. I mean, I know Emma's a teacher
and 3 kids as well.
And having 3 kids, so she does very well to keep herself fit. She does a little bit of running.
Well, yeah, there was a photo for Henderson Squash Club of the different 10Ks. Shelley was one of the people. Well, yeah, just went for a 10K run, which, just a 10K run here and there.
Yeah. Obviously, her husband's quite active as well
on
his bike, and
I think he's B1 or A2 or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's A2 still.
Okay.
Yeah, see him up there holding the baby. I think they're going to have quite sporty kids. Yeah. I'd say.
I would say so.
So let call there. Some would argue that there was a bit of rapping there, bit of a.
Yesterday, Emma Millar got a bit too close with Lana Harrison. I managed to collect Harrison's head.
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see that.
It's a significant gash and bruise on her head today.
Yeah.
All sorts of different colours.
That's the kind of thing that comes to squash, eh? And yeah, you see it less and less as you get as you watch and play higher level, but it can still happen at the top level sometimes. Very tight.
I think both of these players are feeling it in the legs now. 7-6 to Shelley Kitchen.
This is a crucial rally here. 8-6 is a lot different to 7-all.
Let's go.
And Emma has converted that one. I think if I was to call this, I would call Emma to break away here.
That's a bold prediction there by Luamba Teresi. Let's see what happens.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I think we're just calling it 50-50. We have no idea, folks. That's good play.
Very nicely straightened up there.
I got herself into a good position up close, knowing that Shelley was near the back of the court and just able to drive through it.
Yeah, she's done very well from, I think, both players actually. Who've won a few shots off that straight drive in the front right corner. Seems to work really well. They're both quite deceptive though. They have...
No, what do we...
So Shelley arguing there that the ball's down. I think they're going to play a let.
Well, the other thing is when you're in a club like this, it's difficult. There's no replays for the refs as well. And when the ball's so close and they're hitting it so fast, it's very difficult to actually become certain of it. In the fifth game, going to match point, that's not the error you want. Or you don't want any errors.
No, that is a very crucial error.
Yep, well played. Just hanging in there.
Yeah, I think that's just been the difference in this match. Emma's just made a few more unforced errors than normal. I think it's definitely has something to do with the pressure that Shelley's applying. Oh, very nice.
Did you get it?
Great rally.
And Shelley Kitchen not happy with that. Not happy with herself, that is.
It's been a lot of rallies where both players have been dominating. Hasn't been too one-sided. So these last couple of points are going to be very exciting.
Well, that was well played. But what she did then, she did a scoop forehand as such. Looking for the technical term, I think scoop forehand would probably be best, which took the pace out of the ball. Oh, there you go. Wow. 12-10 in the fifth. And well done to both players. Shelley Kitchen had the advantage near the end of that fifth, but in the end it was Emma Millar winning it in five, and gee, they both had a workout, haven't they?